Ryan Regan, and joining us is Mr. JT McGuire. Hello again, sir. And welcome to Tales from the Film Set on Zingo TV, channel 249 and 250. Kindly make sure to download the Zingo TV app on the App Store of iOS and Android. When you download, make sure to rate and leave a comment. Both apps are free. And lastly, Zingo TV is also available on Google Chromecast, Amazon Fire TV Sticks, Roku Sticks, and all smart TVs 2016 and forward. Gentlemen, how we doing?
Okay, I'll be.
And have a good night, everybody. Great to see you all. Anyway,
I'm feeling great. It was a good weekend. Did a little drinking, wrap party for the haunted house. Got to see AEW Full Gear with that gentleman over there.
Yes, I heard about that. So the sports tales from the sports set, I guess we'll call it. Talk a little wrestling. Chris Jericho apparently wants WWE style wrestling to be an Olympic sport, which WWE. By the way, were you pointing to Ryan right there, JT?
I would just say you might want to blur that later.
I'll probably forget. Basically, yeah. Well, see, here's the thing. I think you have one thing that you wanted to mention on that, right? Just one, yeah.
Yeah, just one.
There is some merit to the idea.
Okay.
Let's face it.
I get what he's going for, but for various reasons, it's an awful idea.
Mm-hmm.
But was I supposed to emphasize on that? I thought we were going to talk about other things first.
Talking about something, screw it. But here's the thing. I mean,
we're at the sports den. This is no longer Tales from the Film Set at this moment.
Oh crap! That's left over from the last one. Sorry about that.
I don't know.
But let's face it. The Olympics could do with a little bit more theatrics or a little bit more showmanship in the sports.
With all the stuff they already have there, how much figure skating and dance competitions and gymnastics, most of their stuff at this point that people pay attention to is the sportsmanship stuff. Not to mention, here's my main reason why this is a bad idea. By the way, I have chopsticks because I haven't eaten it yet, and this is what I'm.
He's gonna pick it apart.
So basically, one of my beliefs right now, and I follow some of the others that believe the same way, is that professional wrestling, there should be blurred lines between it being a sport and not a sport. Yes, we know it's predetermined at this point. Yes, we know it's not a real competition, but we get interested into it because it is a real competition. Now, one of the things that we do like with Olympics is that there is amateur wrestling in it. Mm-hmm. And sometimes we like to play that around with professional wrestling. It's kind of the way that we blur lines right there. Now you're saying, well, let's put professional wrestling right in the Olympics. Let's point out once and for all that is just a performance. And basically, we're going to have 5 judges there with cue cards saying, yeah, this was a great match. They'll hire Dave Metzler for the Olympics. Like, of course.
No, I'm not saying necessarily go that far with it, but I think that something could be said for instead of worrying about the traditional Greco-Roman style of wrestling that is traditional in the Olympics, you could do something where you actually have a legitimate ring and have wrestling be done within the squared circle with the ropes, with the pillars, with all the advantages that come with utilizing the space rather than just 2 guys rolling around on the ground.
Well, here's problem number 2.
Oh, okay. He was prepared for this.
So first off, just the word in there of professional wrestling. Professional. The Olympics, even though they've been allowing professionals the last few years, the whole big thing of the Olympics has always been that it is for more the amateurs. So that's another place where they separate the amateur Greco-Roman wrestling and professional wrestling. So why would you put it into a ring where they're more brutal, like an MMA performance, where they already have something that is the realistic and somewhat related to pro wrestling, Olympic Greco-Roman wrestling?
Mm-hmm.
Simple. Optics. It'd be a great way for draw people into the sport and want to watch those segments, possibly even as much as people watch when the stadium happens and you have professional stars for that.
It's a good way to kill it.
You can get a good audience worldwide. That's the thing. The U.S. may not watch the Olympics that much, but the rest of the world still does.
I'm at the point where I'm kind of sick of pro wrestling because I don't want to watch people just perform gymnastics for 20 minutes. Like I'm not into like when I went live with you, Ryan, to All Out 2019. I gotta say, like watching the Young Bucks perform, it is amazing to watch. But after a while, it's like it's the same type of performance over and over. And I'm not even calling it a wrestling match. I'm not calling it a competition. It is just a performance. And it's like at a certain point, it's like I don't want to. I want to get lost in the story. I want to pretend that you're having a real fight, like we were seeing with CM Punk or a Bret Hart or the FTR. Like I don't want to watch guys who don't make me think it's a competition. It's just like fancy move after fancy move.
But I think there is something to be said about the visual aspect of things. Say what you will about like the Young Bucks and everything. Yes, I get it. On the one hand, you have your Braun Strowman, tough guy. Giant Vince McMahon, big meaty men slapping meat type of wrestling, and then you have the flippy dippy doo dah luchador sort of like um, gymnastics. But nowadays, and just to bring this back around to television and film as we do on Tales from the Film Set, wrestling right now probably has more eyes on it because of AEW, because of the new work they've been doing at WWE, because of stuff like New Japan Pro Wrestling crossing over into foreign markets. It's got more eyes on it than it probably ever has before.
No, it's actually, and it's been proven in the fact that even when it was in the territorial days, they were getting more watched by more people within their regional area than they get watched by people now in a national and sometimes global area.
Oh, I would debate the global. The national, maybe I can understand that because the way streaming works and terrestrial television and stuff like that. But you've got more bigger names coming out of the woodwork now. I think.
Who?
I think the argument could be made that Roman Reigns and the Bloodline is like one of the best things that they've had on wrestling television. You've got bigger celebrity names coming in. Look, as much as I may hate Logan Paul, he has brought eyes. He's brought a whole new generation to wrestling. And the YouTube generation, say what you will about it. Lord knows we're on here talking to them.
I've talked to. It's funny. I just want to mention that I've talked to some pro boxers, from some of the stuff that I've been covering on that side of it, and they hate the Paul brothers. They like their business acumen, but they hate what they've done to that sport because it's so much more entertainment and an opportunity to get views on pay-per-view and YouTube and Instagram than it is about the actual style of it. So, I mean, they freaking hate him.
Yeah, no, I understand the hate, but you know what? At the end of the day, would anyone have cared about who they are going up against if they didn't go ahead and have the business acumen to promote the hell out of it?
Floyd Mayweather deliberately
opens doors for the professionals.
Yeah, right. Because they're using an old school professional wrestling tactic: make people hate you, make them want to see you get beat up.
It works. Yeah.
It does. I'm not complaining about that. They're one of the few good things going on in wrestling today, but they overused it because Logan Paul has now faced Roman Reigns. Now they could do some sort of rematch, but I don't know if the rematch is going to be as big at this point. Well, not with some really good build up to it.
Right.
But we're getting away from the topic of all this. It's not even like how popular professional wrestling is. It's the fact that you're going to make it an Olympic sport. The only way you can make it an Olympic sport is if it was based on competition, if it was judged on performance. And I think when you start doing that, when you're actually analyzing it in real time to a live audience, you're kind of killing the mystique of professional wrestling. It is a fake sport that you lose yourself in like a movie to believe it is a real sport. The minute you're there where they do this big wrestling match for 20 minutes, and at the end, the judges have to decide how good of a match it was. I think it loses it.
Oh, I agree. And I don't think it's going to go through. I don't.
I don't think it's no. I agree with you. I don't think it would. I think Chris Jericho has had a habit of talking out his ass on almost every other media outlet he's gone on to.
It's funny.
I think this is just another thing.
Well, let me just before we jump off to another topic, Davion, who I've just recently seen AEW with. Do you have any insight as to whether or not wrestling has any Olympic potential?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I agree with JT on this one because
for love of God.
No, because it's supposed to be entertainment. It's sports entertainment.
Well, so's the Olympics.
No, but it's
most sports that get televised.
No, but it's a different type of entertainment. See, wrestling is more of a drama, more of a storytelling. Than if you go to a wrestling event, it's more okay. I mean, Olympics, it's more like okay, we're watching competition. Nobody really got beef with each other. Nobody got any issues with one another. It's just the fact that they're going against each other just to prove to represent a country. Mm-hmm. It's no real storytelling. It's just okay, I'm representing the country just to basically win a medal.
Can I point out what countries would be competing in this? UK, Mexico, US, Canada, and Japan.
And Saudi Arabia, India.
Could be.
Well, that would be the other great thing about it. It would give other countries a new outlet to pursue. It would be like Jamaica trying to go into bobsledding.
What about choreographed fight scenes as an Olympic sport? How about we do that?
Dude, they can't even get that
best
to be an Oscar
drama.
They can't even get that to be an Oscar category.
Best acting drama for an Olympic sport.
Dude, painting used to be an Olympic sport with
best
gold medal.
Stand-up comedian as an Olympic sport.
Macrame. Dude, if you go back 100 years,
best podcaster as an Olympic sport. I'm sorry, I can keep going on. There's some things that just shouldn't be in an Olympic sport.
Best TikToker.
Best TikToker as an Olympic sport. I will promote pole dancing as an Olympic sport before professional wrestling. Because at least that is some form of athletic competition more than professional wrestling, I believe is. For an Olympic sport.
By the way, wait until esports and FPS becomes an Olympic sport. I see it coming. I think esports will become an Olympic sport within the next 10 years.
And you know what? With esports, there's a winner. You don't have someone with cards saying you get a 10 point.
Dude, the amount of it's amazing.
I'm sorry, Ryan. You wanted to argue with me? I'm arguing back.
Dude, it's the future. The Olympics are hurting in their ratings. Nobody cares.
Right.
So if you can bring in stuff that, like I said, attracts an audience, I can see it. I don't think wrestling is it. MMA could be. I think MMA would probably get an Olympic sport out of it first.
Yeah.
Although this is clearly not actually a Tales episode now, but screw it, don't care.
And to be honest with you, I could see them doing this. If you participate in the Olympics where you got a $500 or $500 million contract to be with the UFC, or Bellator, if you make first place.
Representing the United States, we have Game Grumps. Representing Europe, PewDiePie and Jacksepticeye. And go.
I interject some real quick.
Please.
Okay.
Ryan, will I still be seeing you at Friendsgiving on Wednesday?
We will see.
Ooh.
Uh-oh.
Love it.
Uh-oh.
You guys going to have some words on what
So I can see that. Well, I won't.
We're going to get into a fight at Buffalo Wild Wings. Best fight at Buffalo Wild Wings as an Olympic sport.
The chicken will be flying.
Wait till competitive eating. Joey
I can see that happening at the Olympics.
Yeah, I totally could. Dude.
It's as the Greeks imagined.
Exactly.
Well, if we listen to the Greeks, I mean, orgies would be an Olympic sport.
Orgies as an Olympic sport.
I really want to take that topic, but for the interest of Zingo, I really can't. By the way, Ryan, this kind of ties into the conversation me, you, and they were having just before JT got on. I can't continue that conversation with this kind of a setup. That's a conversation worth having.
And you see my face, right?
Anyway,
Yes.
15 minutes in.
So, how about that, Bob Iger?
Because, you know what? I'm in a good mood. It is morning in America again. Disney is going to be back on track.
In theory.
In theory.
A film theory.
I
And
trust
cut.
in
Oh,
Iger.
wait,
We
that's
are
someone
not
else.
going to mention
Put it
his
on money.
name
So,
Whose name?
unless Mr. Beast want to donate.
hell yeah, dude. Jimmy, bring it. Bring it. Listen, I will count to 1 million if you do it. You did 100,000, I'll top that. But yeah, no, in 2020, Bob Iger stepped down in favor of Bob Chapek. And now it came out this week that Bob Chapek is stepping down in favor of Bob Iger. On a scale from 1 to 10, gentlemen, how much of a panic move is this?
Very panicky. You
I
are
would
bringing
think,
back Bob Iger, who is 70 years old, who did
71,
not
yeah.
want 71 years old, did not want to come back, has been talking about how much he's enjoyed retirement, wanted to escape before all this BS came. I want to know how much they're paying him. Was it announced saying how much they're paying him?
Not to my knowledge.
I know it's a 2-year contract, but I want to know how much they're paying him.
Oh, they're killing him. They're probably paying him the nose right now. And you know what? He probably negotiated a phenomenal deal for that too, because he held that cookie.
Well, technically, he's only been away for the company for less than a year. He only stepped down from being a part of the board.
$27 million payday.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
And Ryan, you were saying online that we were talking about all this back when we were doing a show 2-3 years ago. So this has been going on for a while now.
Yeah.
Where they exchanged CEOs, then he stepped down as chair. Chapek. How do you pronounce it? Chapek was supposed to get chair. He didn't get chair, so that was the first sign of like, there's trouble in paradise. And now the full reversal. They're not even trying to find someone else. They're just finding some name that will appease the investors, just to go, please, give us another shot.
Well, I mean, obviously they're going to go ahead and work closely with Iger in order to, get a successor. And it's not going to be necessarily just Bob Iger's approval that they're going to need. They're maybe going to have to jump through a couple of different hoops.
Well, with Bob Iger, he got promoted there after being a part of ABC for so many years. Mm-hmm. So he went from ABC president to Disney president, or Disney CEO. I'm sorry, president and CEO are different positions. But couldn't they have done something like that? I could see them saying, hey, our big star is Kevin Feige with the Marvel Studios. Could we promote him for Marvel Studios president to the Disney CEO? Did they try and he turned it down?
I mean, it's a possibility. I don't think Feige would have necessarily came out and said, you know what? Yeah, I just like my seat right here. I don't want to advance.
I'm just in the corner, just hang out over here. It's okay.
Right.
Yeah.
No,
and the thing is, now that they've acquired so many different outlets under Iger, there is now a nice pool of potential, creative and executive talent to pull from, rather than just relying on someone who ran the parks for years on end.
And badly too, because I think wasn't Galaxy's Edge his idea?
Ugh.
It was Chapek's baby, wasn't it?
Wasn't the Flash Pass Fast Pass his idea?
The Genie Plus was under Chapek.
Which, by the way, Disney is raising their rates to $189 a day now.
Don't get me started.
Yeah, they went up 30 or $40 a day right now.
Look, the important thing to take away from this is that while Chapek has had, and as many reports have said, the unenviable task of having to navigate Disney through the pandemic, he has not made a lot of good choices.
Mm-hmm.
He has made plenty of enemies.
You know what else he made? $20 million in the severance package. They paid him $20 million to be fired.
Wait.
So instead of going ahead and giving someone the power to just run the ship themselves, they've brought Iger in on the 2-year plan in order to set a path. Then they will find a captain for that ship, and they will say, hey, here's your ship, here's your direction, that is your goal, that is land on the horizon, get there. Which,
But who's that going to be at this point? And I guess that's kind of the question. Like, who
Well, there was that one guy that was passed over that surprised a lot of people. Tim something, I think it
is he still with the company at this point?
I think he might be. I mean, does Catherine Kennedy become an option? And if so, is that a good thing?
Ew, I hope not.
Yeah, that's what I think. You know,
who knows? Maybe if you take her away from just micromanaging Star Wars and you give her, enough to, really spread her mind, she could be an asset in that sense.
Disney recently came out and admitted that they screwed up the sequels because they said they came out and admitted they were more focused on money and profit than on good storytelling.
No,
Mind
Yes,
you,
a
that
big
was-
giant corporation cares more about money than.
But they admitted their gaffe. Do you have any idea the chutzpah on that to be able to say, yeah, we screwed up because we were thinking bottom line and our bonuses first?
Because they probably were trying to regain trust in people. It's like
Right.
it's like it was a Donald Trump approach. Like,
Well, I mean,
well, if I tell you truths about my lies, you might believe me for a little while longer.
yeah, and that's the other thing. I mean, not to bring politics into it, but the
Right.
way the state of Florida is going, the way DeSantis is going, and especially when certain things like the "Don't Say Gay" bill came out and Disney had its silence, it was not good optics as
And
far as the Walt
Didn't they
Disney
fund some of
Company.
that or something? Didn't some of didn't
You wanted it.
didn't Disney fund some of that too, or donate money towards it, or was it just Chapek?
It might have been more so Chapek rather than Disney as a whole, especially considering
Like
that
what book,
DeSantis is trying to take away Disney's tax benefits.
Mhm.
So again, I think it's a smarter plan to bring back someone like Iger and be like, you know what? We're heading into a storm. Again, not to necessarily use the ship stuff again, but
Okay.
we're
It works.
heading into a storm. Who do you go with? The person that can, be master and commander, or the cabin boy that he went ahead and put on the wheel?
Hey, Chris Elliott ultimately did a good job in that movie. But now here's the other side of it, though. Since so many things were bought by Iger, I mean, Marvel was Iger, Pixar was Iger, Star Wars was Iger. Do you see him trying to grab more things? I mean, could you see DC being on the horizon? I mean, there are other things out there that you could almost think that maybe Iger's business plan will involve sucking up more things and suddenly having more content.
No. I think that would be a fool's errand if you actually went ahead and started adding more fuel to the fire. I think at this point, it's not so much about acquiring more and getting the money up that way. It's about taking what we have and utilizing it to the best of its ability, getting
Mhm.
stuff on track. In a sense, it's almost similar to what Discovery has been doing with HBO Max and the Warner Brothers properties and such. The Acts of Zaslav, as they call it, and really just trimming down the fat and really trying to gain a certain direction for where they want to go in the next 5-10 years or so.
Mhm.
If that means Iger needs to take 2 years and do that, then so be it. But you know what? I would trust a person with a creative background who has shown what they can do better than Eisner did back when he took over for Eisner,
Mhm.
and certainly better than what Chapek has done, because his focus has pretty much been less with people and less with the magic of Disney and more just bottom line and trying to accrue money back from losses during the pandemic, which I would have to say his ways of gaining money, not the best. As someone who has been to Disney this year, not the best.
Yeah, you surprised a lot of us with your analysis on Disney and that you didn't enjoy. Forget the money part; you just didn't have fun.
Yeah, no, I was actually talking with family this past weekend. And, when I heard the report before this whole thing came out, there was the report about the tickets being raised at Disneyland and Disney
Mhm.
World and how it was pretty much going to be putting a hiring freeze and it wasn't going to be bringing in more employees. And we discussed how it just did not feel the same. The magic
Mm.
had diminished. It's like Tinkerbell dying in the lantern that she's camped up in before the bomb goes off, and you're just trying to clap and you're trying to wake the bitch up, but she's not. She's dying, and there's an explosion, and then Tinkerbell's gone, and then what does Peter do because he doesn't have the fairy dust? And it's like, God damn it, you don't do this. Sorry.
Hey, Brian.
Ryan, do you need a minute? You okay?
I missed the Magic Man.
A few years ago, I guess. Let me. Yeah, I was going to say I don't know if I should say this or not because I don't know. There we go. Okay, now I feel better. Yeah, I didn't know what the next step in this case was here.
It was hard to keep that face, man.
No, it's okay. But okay, I'm going to clap for you for the performance there. Yeah, golf clap. Yeah. Last time I was in Disney was in 2006, and I got the behind the scenes tour, so you got to see exactly how they do everything, the underground city. The dresses, the system, how it all works.
Walt's frozen head, yes.
What's that? Yeah, Walt's frozen
head.
Yeah.
In its incubation.
Yes, it was actually, that was kind of creepy, but it's impressive they still kept it up. But one of the things that was interesting is the entire tour was designed to end at a specific spot at 3:30. And right before we walked back upstairs, he said, now that you know how everything is and you see everything behind the scenes, when the parade comes through, convince me you're still not going to feel the magic. And by God, even though you know how it all is and you see how everything is done, you see that parade going down and you're like, holy crap, this is even better than I thought it was. That was my last experience with Disney. And I was 31 years old, I guess, at that point when I saw it. So to hear you say that Disney has lost its magic in the interest of bottom line stock prices and commercialism is a shame because there was magic there. There was just this engrossing experience, and now it's all about gross, as in gross financial numbers.
And don't get me wrong. I mean, certainly when you see the park nowadays, it's maybe a slog for a lot of parents or a lot of people of our age, maybe younger. The kids will probably enjoy it to a certain degree, no matter what.
When they're not playing on their phone.
But the thing is, what they're enjoying, we know could be so much more, could be so much better. And it almost like kicks me in the butt that they may never know that kind of feeling, that kind of experience that we had going there. They're only going to know the experience of what it is now, which is a far cry from what it was.
Go ahead.
Yes, Dave.
I never been well, if I did, I was very, very young. So I will say about 5. So I do not remember any recall of being at Disneyland.
Fair.
Okay, so in 2 years, once Iger is done, we'll do a special on location.
We're gonna head down to Disney.
Extreme Punk Entertainment. Dave's first trip to Disney World.
I've got housing.
Did you just say the magic is gone?
So I'm okay there.
I said in 2 years. In 2 years, once Iger does what he can, and there is a successor, and we have what the new experience of Disney is going to be, which I hope will be better. That's when we do it. I wouldn't want to take him before that because then he may have the same experience that I did, and I don't wish that on anybody.
I'm going to be honest. I've only been to Disney World once, and I didn't really have the greatest of times. 2001, I think I was 16 at the time, so maybe I was already too old. I went there with family. My mom, I kind of want to relive some of her childhood memories by just driving from Jersey all the way down to Florida. 20 hours.
22 hours, yeah. Whew.
I really didn't have the best hotel room. I couldn't find one. And then when we were in the actual park, I don't really remember much of it. I was in the Haunted Mansion, which is kind of cool, but even then it was a little outdated. I saw the stuff. I saw the castle. Yeah.
You're like, yep, that's nice. Cool.
Okay, so in 2 years, when we take Davion for his first trip, we will have to take JT in order for him to actually experience the parks. And this way he'll have maybe a better understanding once he gets like really into seeing some of the things and going on some of the rides and all that. Basically, what I'm proposing is that I need to play tour guide to you people. Don't be zoom. Why, JT? Why?
JT, you got a little something right there.
JT will feel joy.
Here's my thing about this, and this is what I got to look at, because again, if we're suddenly planning this trip, and yeah, I have to look
Well,
at
you're
it.
paying for it, right? Thank you.
I have to look at it from a corporate standpoint. Yeah, because $189 a day is the current rate per person. 5 days right there, that's $1,000 after, with tax and all that per person. 4 people, that's $4,000. Not
if I learned anything about business, you just write it all off. And you don't pay anything, right?
Dude, I'll write it off. Listen, the National Synchronized Swim Competition, you bet your ass we wrote that thing off. Listen, the write-off, yeah. But when you're paying $12,000, $15,000 for a trip, because flight, sleeping, you probably have to eat every now and again.
I have you on the sleeping.
Oh, there we go. Okay. Well, actually, to be fair, I do have connections that would probably get free room and board in either Orlando, Port St. Lucie, or St. Pete. So that could be an option. But
but it's different actually staying on the property and
I
being
know.
at one of the
did that in
premier
91.
hotels.
In 91, I was fortunate. We never had a lot of cash growing up, but when we started hitting the 1990s and I started to become an adult, then my father actually was making good coin. And he used to get corporate trips. And one of the trips that we had in 1996 was to Disney. And they paid for the hotel, they paid for the flight. Pop had to pay for me to do it, but which was pretty cool. But the company paid the entire thing.
In 96, that would have been just as Disney MGM Studios would have opened.
Yeah. I mean, I was 21 at the time, so I lost a little something there. But I understood the financial aspect of knowing that a giant Fortune 500 company was paying for the flight and the hotel. I got that part, But I never had that when I was a kid. When I became an adult and was doing it on my own, then suddenly I had, but it was funny because I remember being on like the French Quarter, I think it was, or something like that. And dude, you feel like prestige because you're like, yep, I'm just here. All you bastards are staying in a Motel 6, 75 miles away. It is a cool ass feeling, man.
Oh yeah, no. I mean,
Right.
if anything, the great thing about my trip in March was the hotel and the accommodations of that sense, because we got to check out 2 of the premier places that I'd say if you're a kid you can enjoy it, and if you're a grown up you can enjoy it. It's not like one of those ones where you have like Disney characters plastered all over the place, but there's still like that feel of like, okay, this is better than the hotel down the street.
Yes.
This is better than what you'd get in Atlantic City or maybe even Vegas.
And also, I heard about the round the world.
There is also the drinking aspect, yes. There are things in Disney that you can do only as an adult that
you can't do in Qatar right now for the World Cup.
No.
Yeah. Oh boy. Tell a bunch of Europeans who made an entire trip to Qatar to watch soccer.
Don't worry, Davion. We will get you drunk in Epcot. That I can assure you.
Yes.
It'll be a question of whether or not you make it to Mexico or not. Because you start in the lame country and work your way over. You go right to left. Never left to right, because then you're very disappointed once you get to Canada.
You start in the lame country. Which country is
the
that?
lame country, yeah.
Essentially, on the one side, you start off in kind of like England / Canada, because it's all typical stuff. It's not anything exotic. It's the kind of stuff that you'd get anywhere. But then once you go through and you have like some of the, the Norwegian alcohol or, the Middle Eastern stuff, and, you go through all the more exotic countries. You have like something nice from France, or you have something
UK, France,
Germany,
Morocco, Japan.
It's a different feeling.
Yeah, then the US, Italy, Germany, China, Norway.
Oh,
Mexico. Yeah, okay, it ends up in Mexico.
Yeah,
we're talking about going there in
Mexico,
2 years.
You're just wanting to have a party.
Yeah.
But if you end it off in the UK, it's like, it's a beer.
Yeah. Drinking in the UK is kind of dull. because they have pretty much the same stuff that we do here.
Exactly.
You know,
So again, I have enough experience. I will guide you through properly.
you know. All right, actually,
JT, I don't know if you'll make it all the way through, but
I would challenge. Here's the thing: I'm a lot. I can handle stuff a lot better than I used to. So, while a bottle of wine used to have me just pass out, now I can drink a bottle of wine in one shot and not even feel a thing, not even get buzzed. I finished a bottle of wine yesterday while watching Archer. I didn't feel a thing. You know, and I just I mean, listen, a bottle of wine's only 38 ounces, so it doesn't even count anymore anyway. But I mean, I had a glass before, you know, my little Snoopy cup. I had one before it started today. Well, dude, hell yeah. Listen, I didn't have the crazy straw this time. I had to make do. So, but yeah, I mean, it's intriguing to me a little bit that way. But the monetary part, because of the fact that this is going to cost the equivalent of an actual car, will again tie into what I talked to you about you know, the articles, which I've got to talk to you know. I'll do a blast message on all this kind of stuff. JT, you are so far behind on so many business things right now. But
way to make the man feel special from coming back after all this.
Oh, dude, yeah. Listen. So, but
I will say this: challenge accepted.
all right.
All right.
Let's hope Bob Iger can fix things in 2 years.
Yeah, that's the big thing there. So,
and mind you, I'm not even talking necessarily from the park standpoint. I mean, I'm hoping that Iger can actually go ahead and get things right with, you know, talking with what they're doing with Pixar and not releasing their stuff in theaters, with Star Wars and getting movies back into theaters rather than just relying on the TV shows, with Marvel and the supposed fatigue that we're getting. You know, all things will have to go through Iger as, like, you know, an alcohol filtration process. So hopefully in those 2 years, some things will be righted.
Yeah, and I would love to talk a little more about Marvel because I haven't been with you guys, and there's a lot of stuff that I want to say about that stuff. But unfortunately, I think we should be talking about a different superhero for a tiny bit today. As we all learned yesterday, Jason David Frank unfortunately passed away. Anyone here watch Power Rangers as a kid?
Oh, yeah. You know, I mean, here's the thing.
Before they got to Nickelodeon, I was still watching them. So,
you know,
don't judge me.
SPD.
Emergency. That is like the best opening.
You know Rich Haas. Rich has every single season on DVD.
Wait, what? Of what?
Of every Power Ranger from like the original Mighty Morphin with the five. He has the pilot episode with a different Yellow Ranger.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Yeah, the one girl, basically real smart move, whatever her name was. I'm drawing a blank on it. The videos on YouTube.
She was Spanish, right?
Yeah, some Spanish black lady, I think it was. But bottom line is, all the unknowns there. She asked for too much money, and they're like, no. Fired her, brought in Trini Tui or whatever her name was.
Tree Train.
And the rest is history.
Well, it's actually funny. Jason David Frank actually used to go to conventions and tell about his history. Mm-hmm. And one of the stories was how notoriously cheap that the company was when it came to paying the staff, including like talking to other actors like, Jason, you should help us try to fight for more money. It's like, no, I don't want to go on a world peace tour.
Yes. Well, like I think Austin St. John was kicked out because of that too, right?
Yeah.
He went.
Him and Trini. What's her real name again? I apologize.
Trini, I think it was.
Tree Train.
Tree Train.
Yeah,
and
the Asian Yellow Ranger.
Walter
Jones.
Jones.
That's like the most American name ever.
All three of them got fired at the same time because they all asked for more money and they just got ridden out of the show. Like they're going on a world peace tour or something like that.
And that's how we got Rocky. Aisha.
Captain Sutherland. Yeah, Aisha.
And Josh Youngbach.
Yes. But wasn't there that little kid though?
That was
Turbo.
Power Rangers Turbo. That was a replacement for Rocky.
Yeah. But you had all these actors, 20-plus-year-old kids, guys playing like 17-year-olds, and you got this 12-year-old with them who suddenly is 6 foot when he morphs.
Yeah, I know. I mean, that was pretty much like the kid's dream.
In fairness,
like if you were going to be a ranger, you had to like bulk up.
Really,
in fairness, I was 12 at the time, so that to me was cool.
No, it was. But trust and believe, how many people went to the movies saw that film and watched that kid more.
That was a bad movie. The first one was okay. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't great. It wasn't bad.
No,
The second
No,
one was
the
just like,
first one was good. I say the first one was good, and
the first one was good, but the second one might as well have been a TV movie. It should not have been in theaters.
Speaking of, by the way, speaking of bad sequels, do you know what today is the 25-year anniversary of, JT? I told you guys. I don't say it. Do you know what today is the 25-year anniversary release of?
It's December. What day is it?
November 21st.
Spawn?
Maybe. Actually, but I was going to say, Mother, you're alive. Too bad you will die.
Oh.
Yeah.
I already knew what he was talking about.
Mortal Kombat Annihilation came out 25 years ago today in theaters.
I saw that once, and then I never watched it again.
It was so bad. Funny fact I found out about. Had that movie done well, there was a third one in plan where they're going to have Quan Chi be the villain this time around, and Christopher Lambert was coming back.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
but it wasn't going to do well because it was bad.
They didn't have Christopher Lambert. It was super
James Remark's not bad, but still.
It was super cheesy to the point where you like, then they messed the costumes of certain characters was like horrible. Like Baraka's costume was horrible.
Funny thing about it though is actually the producer came out and said that the editors didn't bother to finish the job. So it was released.
Do you see why we need you back around here? Because now we're on Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
Yeah, I was gonna say, normally I wouldn't mind us going on a tangent, but we are trying to do a tribute to someone who died yesterday.
Yeah. Yes, hold your heads in shame. And it's funny, and I don't mean this funny haha, but funny ironic, but considering we are still in just the wake of Kevin Conroy's passing, who for many of us was the voice of Batman, probably the best articulated Batman that we had ever seen growing up, compared to the movies and other animated forms. Jason David Frank as Tommy Oliver was the face of Power Rangers. Now, while there have been many iterations, many different branches, certain actors have gone on to, relatable notoriety, say like a Rose McIver or a Johnny Young Bosch or a Serena Vincent. Jason was hardcore till he died, literally. The Power Rangers. Whenever he was able to promote the franchise, whenever he was able to make a guest appearance, whenever he was able to actually be on the show as a cast member, he was there. The longest tenured Ranger.
Yeah, and I don't think he actually quit either. It was like they decided they were just going to change the entire cast one day, and he was kind of pushed off the show. But as you said, he came back many times.
He was Dr. Tommy Oliver. They gave him a kick-ass role.
I was 19 in 2004 when Dino Ranger came out. Now, I should point out to this. I don't know about you, but Power Rangers in my school became uncool in season 1. Like if you were talking about Power Rangers by the time they went to the Thunder Swords, you got insulted every day. He still watches Power Rangers. It was a market.
They silently watch it themselves, probably.
So in my mind, like I should have stopped watching years ago, and I watched all through Tommy's reign as a Power Ranger. But then I was 19 years old. I hadn't watched Power Rangers in years. I had no interest in keeping up with it. And someone said, "Oh, Tommy's back this season. He's a Ranger again, and he's their mentor." I watched the entire season of Power Rangers at 19 years old.
Dino Thunder was definitely one of the better seasons in comparison. Now, we got to the point where it's like there were good versions of Power Rangers, and then there were the crappy ones. And it's like now you have to pick which season's your favorite.
Yeah, I yesterday after hearing about his passing, I decided let me look up some of his more recent stuff, and he returned to Power Rangers. My God, most shows I watch, the special effects get better. Power Rangers, the special effects got worse. The gun lasers look like we could do better stuff in After Effects than what they're doing.
Again, depending on which season you're looking at, sure.
It's soap opera level editing, though.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, because
I think it was always a
targeted.
question of like it was always due to like who owned the Rangers at that time, because at one time Disney owned the Power Rangers. At one time,
Wait, they
I
did?
think this is the Hasbro era.
Nickelodeon had it too, I think, for a while.
I think Nickelodeon currently has it.
Yeah.
I don't think Nickelodeon owns it. I think Hasbro owns it and licenses it to
I think that
Nickelodeon.
might be the case. Yeah. Which they've gotten better with some of the seasons. I think when Nickelodeon had it, they were just sloppy with it, because you know how there would always be like a season, and then at some point during the season everyone gets like upgrades.
Mhm.
They would actually treat the upgrade part as like a separate season, and then they would just add super to the title. It's
Yeah.
like, that is so lazy.
Well, Super Nintendo did that too with every game that they had.
I don't want to move away from Jason David Frank, but I could go on a whole topic about Saban and just what a like SOB he is. If you ever watch The Toys That Made Us on Netflix, they interviewed Saban and basically everyone who was involved in building Power Rangers, because again, the whole point of Power Rangers was to sell toys.
Right.
So it was the same as Super Sentai in Japan. But if you just see Saban and the decisions he made, and he's getting interviewed and he's just admitting, like, oh, yeah, I screwed these people over and I screwed these people over. It's just what a SOB he was.
And then they moved the filming to New Zealand for a while there, too.
Yeah.
Well, they always did New Zealand. It always had this landscape. But Day, you had something to say?
Yeah. For the times I actually ran into Jason David Frank at New York Comic Con.
Oh, yeah.
I could tell you stories of being online for other panels. I mean, not panels, other guests. And his line was ridiculously longer, even longer than the major celebrities that were there.
I believe it.
And not only that, this dude would interact with his fans that were there. He would even interact with people that didn't even know him like that, just to have conversation, just to have fun. He made it fun. He made his experience with anybody a fun experience. It wasn't that gripe or that attitude thinking, oh, I'm better than you, or I'm just doing this. You're just like my little. He made you feel welcome while you were there at the cons. And I'm speaking on what I saw at New York Comic Cons, anywhere he went. And anybody that somebody had posted a video when he was pretty much signing autographs. This was like kind of during the pandemic, as recently. I don't know who actually has it, so I can't really say. But the video went on where he basically said, if anybody says that he's not a role model or he's not a hero, don't support him. Because guess what? For me to do this, that means I'm changing lives. I'm making an impact.
And I would say he definitely had an impact, being able to showcase his his martial arts talent, whether he was doing amateur MMA or if he was just still doing the acrobatic martial arts that he does for the camera. He was about that life. He was about that lifestyle. Like I always feared that anytime I would probably like meet him, I'd end up getting kicked by him, just because he was just always about the kicks, and he had that signature. Like you think about like martial artists, and their notoriety. Like obviously you have your Jackie Chan, your Chuck Norris, people who have done martial arts in media, and they always have that signature style. Tommy Oliver or Jason David Frank, he had that signature style.
I want to kind of say, like, I've been watching some Doctor Who documentaries as of late, and when I got to Tom Baker, it talked about how he embodied the role of the Doctor and how he was so into it. And as cheesy as the show was, he took it seriously, and he would go and he would see children and see fans and talk to people, and he was the Doctor. I think in the same way, and you guys were saying this a little bit earlier. Jason David Frank just embodied Power Rangers. Like he knew that role and he knew what it meant. He knew the fans and how they loved it. There was I can't think of the guy's name on YouTube, but he did the something beatdowns where they had two major superheroes fight each other.
Oh, like Bat in the Sun?
Ban the Sun. So they had an episode where they had the, I believe, White Ranger face off against Scorpion. And
ooh, I'd see that.
The White Ranger wins, and then after the White Ranger wins, takes off the helmet. It's Jason David Frank.
Yeah.
Well, he did
Going
another one
flawless
with them
victory.
too, where it was Green Ranger Tommy
He came back for Green
versus
too.
Ryu from Street Fighter.
But it's a point that like that's just a little fan thing that's done, and it's like, you know, Bat in the Sun usually just hires random actors for that, and here's one where Jason David Frank's willing to reprise his role, possibly for a very small fee, for this fan video on YouTube.
Well, and again, also goes along with the stuff that they did in comics, because when the core Power Rangers ended, it continued on in paper form in Power Ranger comic books. And then when they started getting into the Shattered Grid storylines with this evil Tommy Oliver, Lord Draken, you'd see Tommy Oliver, you'd see Jason David Frank showing up and Lord Draken doing fan films as Lord Draken. He was ready to go ahead and make that whole anti-Power Ranger, persona a thing. That's how invested he was. That's how much he owed to the franchise in itself. Because without that, I mean, I hate to say this about the man, but what else have we seen outside of that?
Yeah.
He in a certain way he owes his life to Power Rangers, but we also owe Power Rangers to him, because I don't know if the franchise would have been as notable and maybe even continuing on this far if there weren't people involved like him who cared so much about it and wanted to keep the mentality and what Power Rangers really stands for going. Now there's like entire YouTube channels, there's entire fandoms, subreddits, whatever, devoted to this thing that started off as pretty much just a cash grab from Super Sentai.
Right.
And that's why when someone passes away, such as Jason David Frank, there's definitely people who miss people like that. But I think like that hit hard to a lot of people, even people who didn't think it would hit hard, because he invested himself so far, even till when he passed away yesterday. They had a video of him playing down every place he was going to visit until yesterday's, or I guess it was actually Saturday's incident happened.
Right. And I think that should also be noted, and we say this with much seriousness, that due to the potential of his passing, with it looking like it was an unaliving, let's say, I think it speaks even more to the fact, because it almost echoes the feelings that we probably had when we heard about how Robin Williams died. You don't expect it from certain people, and
I don't want to put it off so silly, because it is serious. He potentially committed suicide, and it's a very terrible thing. And
I'm saying
I really think that
this
I don't know if we have a lower third for it, but should really promote like there are plenty of suicide hotlines out there and places to talk to. And if the thing to remember, and it's hard to say, because when you do talk to someone who's that mindset, you can't just say one or two things that's really going to get them out of that mindset. But I'm going to try at least to give my 2 cents anyway, and just that, remember, there's always tomorrow.
Right.
Like you could be at your lowest low right now. You could be everything terrible right now. But as long as you know there's a tomorrow, it could get better. It could get worse, but it can also get better. And that's the way you look at it. When you end it, there's nothing.
Right.
That's it. And you're not just hurting yourself, you're hurting so many other people.
And just to let everybody know, I have been in that dark side before, where you wanted to give up, but then you have people support groups and friends like these three gentlemen that get you out of it. So it is kind of tough, when it comes to being depressed, not knowing whether you want to basically focus on. Because I was at the moment when it came to films, wasn't getting no work, wasn't getting anything. And, I just felt like, what's the point? So, but I had people that supported me and helped out. And that kind of brought me out of it, because if it wasn't for those people, I probably would be in that dark place. But you know what? I'm glad that we're talking about this because this is actually something I've been saying from the beginning, even during the pandemic. And I said it multiple times that people are not going to be the same because people are not used to being by themselves for whatever reason during this whole life exchange, what we experience. And I mentioned it before that people are going to need to see a therapist or something so they could be cult back to where they used to be. And
that's the thing; it can happen to anyone. I mean, like
right,
I said with Robin Williams, like I said with Jason David Frank, this is a man who had a loyal fan base, who had a franchise that was pretty much his alone in many aspects. He had a wife, he had children. You would think, as much as he is always shown to be there for the fans, you wouldn't think that there would be a problem, but sometimes there always is, regardless. And especially in the entertainment industry, you're taught that you have to put on the brave face. You got to fake it till you make it. You can't
right.
let that stuff show because it may be detrimental to your career. And
And
that's part and parcel, a damaging mentality. And if anyone can experience it, certainly it can be the strongest and the most powerful of us. And I
yeah,
think that says a lot to Jason's charisma and his professionalism that you wouldn't even think that would happen to him. With all of his health and his physical attribute, I wouldn't think he'd be diseased in any way. I wouldn't think he'd be sick in any way. And yet, the mental stuff will always be there, regardless of how healthy or how powerful you are.
yeah,
In my case, and this is actually why the finger was up. I wasn't just trying to air it out, actually. Um, I am officially defined as unipolar. One of the challenges that I have. Unipolar is basically a really fancy way of saying you battle depression. Bipolar, basically, you have the highs and the lows. Unipolar, you only get the lows, you don't get the highs. So, in my case, personally, arguably my biggest challenge was from 2004 to 2006. My take is personally loneliness is, and I think the day you mentioned something similar. Loneliness, I think, is the single hardest feeling a person can have. And when you're alone and you're continually comparing yourself to others, and you're looking at what others have. In my case, personally, I was 28, 29, 30, 31 years old, and everyone was my life was getting married, having kids, and doing the proper, in their 30s kind of a thing. And here I am predisposed to depression, in my apartment Saturday night. Everybody else is, having their lives, and I'm on my own. And I took the drinking pretty heavily. And my escapism from my depression and the drinking, believe it or not, was to end up in a physically abusive marriage for 2 years, with injuries that took 3 weeks to heal, basically being beaten for eating over 1,500 calories a day. And that was still better than the depression that I was feeling. So one of the biggest things that frankly pisses me off is when people, and you mentioned Robin Williams. I remember there was an ass hat. Screw it. We'll call him an asshole. Why not?
YouTube.
Dude, fuck it. I don't even care right now. I don't fucking care.
I know.
No, I know. And I'm not even, I'm going to leave it in, when I edit this later. There was a guy who didn't understand why Robin Williams would do it. And his response was continually, well, why doesn't he just buy himself more things? That doesn't work. you don't. Here's the thing: it's like a lot of things. If you've never personally experienced it, you never get it. You never understand it. You know, and this is the biggest frustration that I have. And I think in this case, to be borderline misogynistic here, I think it's actually worse to have a depression as a guy. Statistically speaking, we are 3 times more likely to commit suicide than women are, because we're told to bottle it up, to be men, to be tough, you know, keep it inside. We're no, you know,
walk it off.
Walk it off. You know, I had nothing. I had no one during all of this, you know, and that, like I said, to have a marriage to a woman who would push you down a flight of stairs, you know, and would smash objects across your face because you ate the last diet ice cream sandwich, you know, and that was better than depression. That should give you some idea of what depression is really like and how bad it really is, to choose that as a better alternative, you know. So in this case, with his story, and obviously I don't have the full breakdown on everything as far as exactly what did it. It's something that, like I said, you either have it or you don't fully get it.
Right.
And I think little by little, very little by little, people are starting to see this more. And the funny thing is, you see these ads on TV, you know, for online therapies and things like this. And you know what? It's bizarre. I've wondered on occasion, 20 years ago, what would I have done? Would I have contacted one of those people? Could I have avoided, you know, the years of challenge that I had to overcome, you know, had something like that been there? Because at the end of the day, for me, there was no one. There was nothing. And I came so close so many times to committing suicide. But the only reason I didn't is because I didn't want my parents to go through it. But this is the kind of stuff that some people don't have the strength to necessarily overcome.
Right.
And don't have the ability to work themselves through. And that's why the beauty, I think, of society now is the fact that it is more accepted to be human than to be tough. And that's where I think that the benefit of things like 988, which is down below, and all of these options are for the betterment of humanity, because humanity is being human, and depression is part of it too. So anyway, that was just my thing on that. I went on a massive soapbox. I apologize for that. But now you know why basically the clown laughs.
Right. And now you know why the people be silly and do stuff, because we're hiding what our true emotions are, because society is telling us this is what you got to do. You can't cry as a man, even though you saw me on YouTube crying. But these are the stuff we hide, because if we show our true emotions, you would blacklist us. You would tease us. You would make fun of us. But now is the time to basically admit that, you know, we human. We make mistakes.
We're not saying that, like, in this context, you know, I'm sure Jason David Frank probably was getting help. Maybe he did reach out. But when someone who could easily kick any of our asses on any given Sunday, you know, still has issues that even he can't tackle, that shows you the weight of it.
When someone that was doing his own TikTok and YouTube videos saying, if you feel this way, reach out and get help, and this, and he was preaching these things too, and he's fighting them behind the scenes.
Right. And this is what we're saying, like, to all the fans, to people that are suffering through this type of condition. You know, there's people, there's support. Even when you're around people that you feel as though they don't support you, there's a hotline where you have to call so you can get that support. And we have the number right down below. So, you know, it's not a joke. It's not a game. You know, we do care about you. That's why, because we wouldn't post this if we didn't.
Hell yeah. You guys rock.
Now, I will say this just to lighten the mood a little bit.
Important.
If I have one more childhood celebrity die before this year ends,
dude,
I swear to God,
protect Maggie Smith with all that there is in the universe.
Matter of fact, wait. We
Someone
did.
protect Rob Paulson with their life. All right?
No. We did. Oh yes. You're right.
Or Tim
Rob
Curry.
Paulson, Maurice LaMarche, Tim Curry. Thank you, Tim Curry.
Yeah. But we already had, because remember, it's always the 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought we got the 3 out of the way because like when Kevin Conroy died, like there were 2 immediate right afterwards. I can't think of their names at the moment because they were from different.
Gallagher was one.
Gallagher, yeah.
But
then it was what's his
although
name?
he was a little older.
Nick. What's it? Nick or Aaron?
Oh,
Aaron,
that's right.
Aaron Carter.
Aaron Carter.
Yeah.
Aaron Carter, 34 years old. So,
which I think was also
I guess
suicide.
childhood magicians. I mean, don't kill off any musicians or movie stars or voice actors. Look, I do not want this to end like last year did with Betty White. All right, let's no.
Well,
and Brian Millard.
Yeah.
No. I was looking for something to lighten the mood, and of course, the first button I hit is the freaking cheer button. I was looking to lighten the mood. I didn't know what button I was saying. I thought it was a
Dude, we got really dark with it.
Damn it!
But here's the thing: the part of the reason why I interact so much with the YouTube comments that come in is because everybody carries pain.
Right.
And I think the ability to realize that is sadly a failing in society now, as we are so much more on our own soapbox talking about which politician is better or which team is better or whatever, forgetting that the person that you're yelling at, arguing, berating, and destroying internally has pain just like you do. So I try so hard to work with YouTube, people, that comment on the channel, on the videos and all this kind of stuff, just to basically make sure that they're not feeling alone,
Again, I want to start trying to get back to happier subjects, but before I do, and something that you kind of brought up here, I like Christmas.
Yes.
And yeah, I was born Catholic and stuff like that. I don't even look at as a religious holiday. I look at as a cheerful holiday.
Liberal.
That so many people do not like. Liberals don't like Christmas most of the time, from what I see.
Christmas, Kwanzaa, Ramadonica.
Around this time of year here in New Jersey, there's a radio station called 98.3 Magic FM.
Right.
They play Christmas songs starting around November 11th. I play that almost every day.
Nice.
Up until they stop playing Christmas songs.
Oh wow.
I drive around and look for Christmas lights. I do it because I wasn't going to talk about this. I really didn't. That's things that make me happy. Because I'm sometimes looking for happiness myself. No, I'm not going to get into this. I got to dig. You got to find. I'm just saying, don't attack things that make other people happy. If the policy really everyone should take is do what you want, just don't hurt people.
Yeah.
If what someone else is doing, if it's not hurting someone else, leave them alone. That's weird. Leave them alone. You shouldn't do that. Leave them alone.
Leave them alone.
As the kids say, don't yuck my yum.
Right. Yeah.
And
that's what I'll leave it.
And just to follow up with JT, there's stuff that keeps me happy. Like, it's not material things. You know what? It's family and friends.
He says that with all the Funko Pops behind him.
Shut up. Yeah, exactly. Look.
I have Funko Pops too, but I'm just going to pull out my All Might.
Yes. But
wow.
Being with the ones you love, like your family and friends, through the tough times and to the good times.
Yeah.
All right. What can I pull out here? Hold on.
Sorry. You know what? Let's give it a minute. Dave, finish your thought first.
Give me a minute while I whip this out.
Yeah.
Pardon me while I whip this out.
So you can't talk no more.
It's one.
Doesn't matter.
Compared to millions behind you.
Doesn't matter. But the point I'm trying to make is I have the support system of these three guys. As support system from friends that I hang out with, even friends that I haven't hung out with in a while, even the ones that I never hung out with. But
Don't get him started. Don't get him started. I saw that stuff on Saturday.
Social media and Facebook. I'm ignoring what I said, what happened the other day. I'm going to basically throw that. That's water on the bridge. I'm not acknowledging that.
Okay.
And family. Because without y'all, I don't know what I would have done. I probably would have just been miserable and depressed because my life is not where it was. If it wasn't for y'all, I don't know. Oh, and coworkers. Sorry, coworkers. There, a lot.
Which, by the way, I'll tag on. Thank you to Davion's cousin. Whatever your name is, he didn't give me your name.
Ali.
Thank you very much.
Refuse to give you your name.
Yeah.
Yeah, we name drop on here because
No, it's okay because I already thanked him. So
yes, but he didn't get it from me. So this is show him this.
I'll let him know definitely.
All right.
But
and hey, if you have any other free tickets hanging around for things, if you need my number.
All right. In other news,
such a cheery. Great moment. So, by the way, if I can get some free stuff.
Hey, making people laugh is
all right.
My yum. All right.
You want me to make you guys laugh? I got a story for you.
All right.
Okay.
So, all right. So you already know my mother-in-law lives here.
Right.
He goes to a senior center a couple times a week. They go there, they do whatever, and and last
walk around
week,
in a circle.
Pretty much, yeah. They watch movies and they get together, they eat. It's a good chill event for people over like 70.
They complain about us millennials.
She gets back the other day, last week, and she is so excited. She is so fired up. She's like, I met this entertainer today. It was incredible. He's an actor. He's in SAG. Here's his card. And I'm thinking, the meme where it's like, am I a joke to you? She was so jonesed about this guy who has this jet black hair on a backdrop that was somehow even darker than his pure jet black, FFFFFF like hex.
This is what movie screens used to call black. This is Dolby Digital.
You see the black. The dude's hair was somehow actually like darker than that, and it was on black background. But she was so excited because he's like, he's an actor and he's in SAG, and I'm thinking to myself, what the hell?
Well, no,
do you know how to get health insurance for your daughter?
So this isn't somebody that you recognized or anything. This isn't somebody you worked with.
Four mutual friends, but he has like one IMDb credit because he was apparently part of like the entourage of Blue's Clues with guy number 3, whatever the guy's name is. I guess it's a background gig or something. He had one IMDb credit, and it's like he's an actor. It's like,
and he's got SAG.
Yeah, and I'm like,
with one IMDb credit.
One IMDb credit.
By the way, Scott, what do you do for a living?
I don't know. I do some internet. No. I do some internet.
God, JT, don't bring that up because I gotta go to my class reunion.
Okay.
High school reunion.
I got my 30-year reunion next year. Remember, I was voted least likely to succeed by my graduating class and spit on by a lot of them. Trust me, if you sell it right with the right kind of confidence, you can make them all look like shit.
I know.
Trust me,
no,
you can.
No.
Oh, yeah, you can.
To be honest with you, dude, they already looking at me like I'm the top guy. That's why I got invited.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like,
I was the other side of that fence. Hence the depression.
Look, if you guys are stuck, watch Romy and Michelle's high school reunion.
Yes.
Learn the formula for Post-it notes. You'll be golden.
Dude, I still tell people have a Romy and Michelle day. Nobody understands what that means, but the 1% that actually does gets a massive smile on their face.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? As a reminder, I'm going to start doing that again. But yeah, no, I really shouldn't start saying that.
Yes.
Anyway.
JT's just like,
well,
forget anyone in my high school.
So
no, my high school, like they totally failed. We did the 20th anniversary and they held it at World of Beer in Newark or in New Brunswick.
Oh, I'm about
And
to say, what?
yeah, so I'm like, yeah, I think I'm ahead of the class there.
dude,
I have never been to a high school reunion because I just keep seeing what everyone else is doing on Facebook. I was like,
Right.
why do I need to go to the reunion?
here's the thing. I'm older than all of you. When I did my 10-year reunion back in 2003 or 2004, whatever it was, all we had back then was classmates. We had no social media. So it was a real reunion. You know, nowadays it's like, dude, I don't want to go to a pub and drink a beer with people that I know what the hot dog that they cook look like. You know, it's like, dude, I've seen pictures of your 3 naked kids in a bathtub. I don't want to hang with you.
Well, that's the thing. It's like now, I guess because of the pandemic, you've been seeing a lot of reunions and everything. There was the Friends reunion. There was the Harry Potter's reunion. There's all these reunions, and it's like, you all practically worked together for years, and you see each other in the media. Chances some of you have worked together since then on other projects.
You text each other all the time, you know.
Right.
Yeah, well, why do we need to see you all sitting in a room talking?
Because it's scrounging for any kind of content you can on something that's beloved to you.
Right.
No, I feel bad for Rupert Grint, man. He got dogged out.
Dude, he did like, he's on like some series on like Netflix now, and he did a movie with Ron Perlman that was in the $1 bin at the dollar store.
Yeah, Moonwalker or Moonraker or something
like that. Yeah, go ahead, Jay.
I don't think I have anything on that. Oh, I did. I don't think I do.
Hey, Daniel Radcliffe though, Weird Al Yankovic. Come on, best role ever.
Yeah, he did really well in that. I was gonna say something. I saw some video. I don't know if this is a few years ago or not. He was on the Drew Barrymore show, and she brought up like, "Hey, I heard you had a certain girl on your wall as a kid," and his response, and it obviously was Drew Barrymore. That's why she brought it up. But his immediate response was, I hate when someone brings it up, especially you, because you were a child actor and you know stuff like this is embarrassing and that you shouldn't bring it up. And she was like, but I am anyway.
Kind of makes you wonder which Drew Barrymore was going to be on the wall of it. Because, I mean...
The one from E.T.
Ew.
I'm just gonna say, from both standpoints, it's so wrong.
It could have been
the only one I could think of would have been Charlie's
the one from Scream,
probably
Wedding Singer, because she had a cute thing going on in that one.
Mm-hmm. Probably Charlie's Angels. I'll have to agree with Ryan on that one.
Well, I was for Cameron Diaz and
no. If I was going to have Cameron Diaz on my wall, it was going to be Mask Cameron Diaz. That was peak Cameron Diaz.
Well, that was unknown who the heck is this
the end of Cameron Diaz.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. Also, by the way, had Richard Jeni in there, who predated Robin Williams and his passing that way. But my wife hates the Mask.
You know all the deaths.
Mm-hmm. So
one would almost think maybe you were part of a cabal that caused them.
Probably. You know, I am a ginger. We have no souls, so probably has something to do with that.
He has no soul.
So
horror.
So, all right, are we good, or we should try and make this a little more depressing?
Yeah, I think I'm formally depressed. We're ready for Thanksgiving week now.
Exactly. Woo.
Well, no.
Thanksgiving is the most American holiday really out there because the fattest nation in the world spends the entire time eating with unbridled gluttony.
Yes. As we go to the end of our show, what are some of the things that we are thankful for here? Even though I think we've talked about a few already.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I haven't had a pleasant Thanksgiving in many, many years.
I thought we were supposed to be going out on a high note.
I am. No. This is going to be a high note. This is going to be a high note. I'm really looking forward to this Thanksgiving. I have a Friendsgiving, which I don't think I've ever had before, on Wednesday, where I'm going to see a lot of my friends. I'm hoping the sir above me is also going to be there. And I'm actually going to be spending Thanksgiving with not only immediate family, but some extended ones I haven't seen in a while either. So This is one of the happiest holidays I've had in a very long time coming up.
Oh,
I don't know why I'm.
Right.
Anyway, yeah, we're so far away from Tales of the Film Set. Like,
JT,
whoever's watching us is like, why do we care what you're doing?
Because you know what? It's the
Yeah, but see, here's the thing.
humanity
That's
way.
still down there, by the way. So, here's the
Alright.
thing.
Oh yeah, that's what the past. We're talking about what are we thankful
Right.
for, and still topic the passing
I'm
of
thankful.
David Frank.
I have a roof over my head. Do you know what it's like to sleep in your car in the middle of January? Because I do. 15-degree temperature, and all you got is a blanket to keep you warm. This heat, TV, you guys, dude, it's a life. You take it for granted sometimes, but my God, you think about it, and sometimes I'm down here and I get emotional. I have a roof over my head. I have air that doesn't have like fungus and mold in it that I'm breathing anymore.
You have a very beautiful pool table to your right.
Yes, I do, dude. Pool table. The air hockey table's got a bunch of stuff on it ever since Helene moved in. But I mean, yeah, dude, I got the basement I've always wanted. I always dreamed about. And it's like, well, shit, this is,
Okay, before we go further, you gotta change that lower third because otherwise, this is
I'm just gonna dump the lower third.
I've got balls of steel.
So actually, you know what
Okay,
I have?
better,
I have a
better,
ton of
better.
editing ahead of me because here's the thing: I got to edit this show and the previous one for tomorrow,
Mhm.
and PSE&G is cutting my power for 3 hours tomorrow and my heat.
right.
So I have to get it done tonight.
So
You have 25 minutes you have to cut out of the show, and I think
I got about a half an hour worth. Yeah.
all right. So Dane, real quick, what are you thankful for
I don't care about
besides
it.
what you've already told us?
About family and friends and having a roof over my head, being, just being me as, and not changing who I am, like besides my family and friends, just being who I am, like just being the charismatic goofball that works in a job that never changed his personality. Because you know what? There are a lot of people that's willing to change who they are. But with me, it's like, why? Because if there wasn't a person like me, if I was just some stereotype or then, what could, how would y'all accept me? That's pretty much how I would say.
Well, you're not a dick, so that's a good start.
Pretty much. But I chase to the other topic.
All right,
Well,
Ryan,
what,
the balls
you
in your
trying to
court
point at
here.
me?
Yes.
Yeah,
Ryan, your turn.
Okay, so let me try to make this lighthearted. What am I thankful for this year, our Lord 2022? I am thankful for Dollar Tree because Lord knows when money gets tight sometimes, it's nice to know that even with a 25% increase on your bottom line, $1.25 still goes a long way.
Yes, it does.
That being said, I am also thankful for the Arizona Tea Company because you have not changed your prices, and especially on that Arnold Palmer Light, which is like crack to me. All right, it's probably not the best thing to be addicted to, but god dang it, I love it.
You can do it.
I don't want to add some there, but I've been going to places where it's $1.25 now for Arizona iced tea.
Yeah, no, it works for you, man. It works. I am thankful for the few acting opportunities, whether it be with Russell Rapp on his Power Child film, which should be debuting next year.
Nice.
And also the Haunt at the Kreischer Mansion over in Staten Island, because they were the only acting opportunities I had this year while I was still going through all of my mental therapy and whatnot. And hopefully, with next year on the horizon, it means bigger and better things now that I've gotten some of the cobwebs knocked off. I'm thankful for Stream Punk because Lord knows I'd be very bored at home if I didn't have that. I'm thankful for AMC Theaters because you still allow me to do my AMC A-list, which allows me 3 movies every week. and you
Nice.
haven't changed much on the pricing yet. Don't do it, otherwise I may quit. I am thankful for my sister and my mother, who are probably the only family I can truly acknowledge. Not to say I don't have aunts, uncles, all that other stuff, but they are the most consistent. My sister has helped me get back into the gym, even if it means only going to go in to swim in the pool because I am a water baby like that. And my
Sure.
mother, who will call me up almost every time while I'm on the bathroom, but she's calling to check up on me, so I know that she cares, even though her timing is impeccable. I still appreciate that they are consistently in my life, as well as maybe a few other people. And you know what? I will even say thank you to the obnoxious drunk women who always call me when they want to voice their problems, or are looking for money, or are complaining about their husband slash boyfriend slash girlfriend, because you have given me more perspective in this past year than I could ever expect, and it has made me want to go back into working in theater and television and movies, even more so, just to get away from you.
Da, 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 da.
Boom.
Boom goes the dynamite.
By the way, he's like, I gotta go find a mic. Hang on a sec. Oh, there we go. Drop.
Emotional, damn it.
Yep. Yep.
All
Now
right.
that is how you end an episode.
Yeah. So on that note, on a very special episode of Tales from the Film Set, JT, welcome back, man. Really glad to have you back. Yeah, in this case, we covered a lot of stuff, but you know what? I don't think it was a bad thing. I really think it was a good thing.
This will be segmented throughout the entire next week or so.
Yeah, you know, I got to figure. Like I said, I got some editing ahead of me tonight on this one, so. But anyway, thanks as always, JT. Welcome back. I appreciate it. You rock. Day, thank you for the honesty. You rock as well. Ryan, thank you for the honesty. You rock as well. And on some very rare occasions, maybe I even do too. Gentlemen, thank you. You're freaking awesome. So I love y'all. Anyway, we're gonna wrap this up. I'm Scott. Thanks as always for tuning in. Take care. And you guys are awesome too. If you got any questions, any thoughts, any concerns, anything like that, about any of the stuff that we covered, you need a friend, you know where we are. Chances are we've been somewhere or another through everything you've been through, and somehow we know. Or if it's not us, we know people. So
you just call out my name.
Dude, seriously.
And
Cactus, we'll help you out any way we can.
wherever I am.
I've got
This
I'm
video
not
is monetized.
running.